Maserati enters electric era with 751 bhp coupe. But is there enough drama? What a difference a new model generation can make. A. The previous Maserati Granturismo, with its 4.8-liter naturally aspirated V8, was one of the rortiest-sounding cars in existence. Indeed, were an owner to fire up their sleek Italian GT on a cold start round the back of Harrods, the more keen-eared pedestrians outside South Kensington too would just be able to make out the engine's roaring gargle. Superb. But now the V8 has been retired on of course, emissions grounds. The latest Maserati Granturismo, which looks similar to the old one, but is more or less an entirely new car, now carries a 3.0-liter V6, but the platform has been engineered also to facilitate a purely electric setup. The Granturismo has thus gone from having one of the most extroverted sonic signatures in the car world to having almost none at all. We're nonetheless keen and curious to road test the Granturismo Folgore, as the electric version is known. As we'll soon discover, Maserati's approach to building a Super Eve is different from what already exists out there. There's also no shortage of speed, and this car remains unusually easy on the eye. Might, in some ways, a clinical, refined and hugely effectively electric powertrain actually suit the urbane Granturismo rather well. Time to find out what the first electric Maserati is really like in the UK. Design and styling. All variants, petrol or electric, are made at Maserati's Modena plant and are also equipped with four-wheel drive, another first for the Granturismo. Purists might not like that, but in the case of the Folgore, a driven front axle seems sensible in light of an output of 751 bhp. Were you to strip away the sleek bodywork, you'd find 3.402 bhp electric motors from Marelli's plant in Bari, Italy, with two of them on the rear axle. They spin to 17,600 revolutions per minute and give the Folgore an installed power output of 1206 bhp, but because of the limitations of the NMC battery pack, only 751 bhp can be generated at any given moment. The motors are notable in using Formula E-derived silicon carbide inverters, which are lighter and have a greater power density than traditional silicon inverters. The car's 800 volts battery, which has a total capacity of 92.5 kilowatt-hours, but usable capacity of only 83 kilowatt-hours, is made at the Mirafiori battery hub in Turin. And it doesn't follow convention in being spread out flat along the floor pan. Instead, it is shaped to fill the space that, in ICE Granturismos, would be occupied by the engine, gearbox, and propshaft, with a cruciform just ahead of the rear axle. The car's center of gravity is therefore higher than it could be, though Maserati claims that this centralized glut of battery capacity puts the mass closer to the car's roll axis. It uses pouch-style modules and can be DC fast-charged at speeds of up to 270 kilowatts. The pack weighs 600 kilograms. Unsurprisingly, the Granturismo is hardly a light and dainty car, and it continues a recent trend of road test Maseratis weighing notably more than claimed. The Folgore's official figure is 2,260 kilograms, some 465 kilograms more than that of the V6 engine Granturismo Trofeo. However, on our scales, the electric car came in at 2,358 kilograms, albeit with a perfectly even weight distribution. It's also worth noting that the Porsche Taycan Turbo S we recently tested weighed 1,356 kilograms, versus a claimed 1,295 kilograms. Despite their differing door counts, the Porsche and the Maserati are remarkably similarly sized cars, so it's reasonable to compare them. Strident, multi-motor performance EVs remain very heavy in general. Aside from its electric Drivline and some structural strengthening to the boot floor, around the front subframe, and to the central tunnel, the Folgore is otherwise identical to the petrol versions. Suspension is by double wishbones at the front and a multi-link arrangement at the back, and the car remains reasonably rare in being a toot or sporting coupe, albeit an unusually large one that rides on air springs. Electronically controlled dampers complete the setup, and the Hooyland tire package is as per the ICE cars. Interior. The cabin of the Folgore is largely identical to that of the petrol car, so we won't repeat ourselves too much here. In short, there's a good mix of finishes, and the general atmosphere is suitably opulent and relaxing, something enhanced by our test car's breezily slick to tone upholstery. The full gore is also notable for having a fine driving position, aided by the fact that there is no battery capacity directly underneath the front seats. With the car's generous wheelbase, the back seats are also usable, if not for larger adults over longer journeys, then certainly for short stints and teenagers. Less impressive is boot space, which at 270 liters trails that of the Taken by some margin. EVE-specific elements are limited to the vast aluminium paddles, which no longer change gear, but vary the level of regenerative braking, and appreciable for 100 kilowatts and up 0.65 grams is available on the fly. And the sharp graphics inside the 12.3-inch central touchscreen and the 12.2 inches digital instrument binnacle. There is some latency in the software, and the menu structure takes some getting used to, but Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard and work mostly seamlessly.